Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are talking about maskne, acne caused by wearing a mask, which is something we're probably all dealing with at least a little bit right now. So today that's what we're going to be talking about, what it is and how to prevent it. I have 7 tips on how to prevent and sort of treat maskne. Again, not a professional, but these just are tips that work for me. So if that sounds interesting to you, keep on watching. Okay, so first of all, what even is maskne? So that's kind of a name that we've come up to call acne caused from wearing a mask, because nowadays we all wear masks and it can be a little bit unpleasant, and especially it can cause breakouts. So I mean, of course we should be wearing masks and doing our part and everything like that. I'm definitely not saying we shouldn't be doing that, but it isn't exactly the most pleasant thing in the world, especially when it's causing acne on your face. So a big part of the reason that masks will cause acne is because it's creating a warmth and like a moist, warm environment. And I know everybody hates that word moist, but it's creating a warm, wet environment on your face, because when you're breathing out, you know, it's trapped. So it's nice and hot and wet, and that's a great breeding ground for bacteria. Another reason is because it's causing friction on your face, and that can sort of wear down at the protective skin barrier and cause some irritation there as well. And finally, it can, if you're wearing like makeup or sunscreen, which you should be wearing sunscreen, we should be trying to kind of avoid the makeup right now under the mask, but if you're wearing like sunscreen, or if you are wearing like a foundation or something, it's going to be pressing that into your skin and making it even harder to cleanse your face later. So today I have 7 tips and we're going to get into those right now. All right, so tip number 1 is to double cleanse, which is kind of ironic. Number 1 is to double cleanse. Anyway, sorry, I'm weird. But so you really want to be making sure you're doing a double cleanse at the end of the day, because you really want to make sure you're getting all of the oil and dirt and sebum and everything that has been trapped on your face all day. You want to make sure it is gone. And you want to do this without stripping the skin, because there's already that friction going on from the mask that is causing irritation. So we want to be doing a gentle double cleanse, but an intense but gentle double cleanse. And what I mean by that is really taking your time. So when you're going in with your first cleanse, which if you don't know what a double cleanse is, you start with an oil-based cleanser and then you wash that away with a water-based cleanser. And that's kind of the gist of what a double cleanse is. So when you're going in with your oil-based cleanser, with your cleansing balm or your cleansing oil, you really want to make sure you're massaging it in very well and thoroughly and taking your time, because it's really going to help. It's going to help dissolve all that sebum and oil and such that have been built up all over the day and have been like plugged into your pores, and you're going to make sure you're getting all of your sunscreen and your makeup off as well. So then when you go in with your second cleanse, you don't want to skimp on the second cleanse either, because you want to make sure that all of the oil and like waxy kind of film from your first cleanse with the oil or the balm, you want to make sure that that is all gone and off of your skin, and that all of the kind of like dirt and such is off of your skin as well. Your first cleanse is going to get rid of your oil and sebum. Your second cleanse is going to get rid of like dirt and water-based things. So you want to make sure you're taking your time with your second cleanse as well. And that means, again, taking your time. It should take you at least a minute per cleanse. You don't want to overly cleanse your skin, but you do want to make sure you're cleansing for at least a minute with both of them, to make sure that you're really doing a very good job of removing everything that's on your face and giving yourself a nice clean canvas for your skincare routine, because you don't want to be layering stuff on top of a face that's not clean. It's just going to worsen your problem. So you're also going to want to make sure that you are using very gentle products, especially because we're going to be cleansing for a little bit longer, and making sure that everything is gone. So with your balm or your oil, you want to try to avoid like essential oils and fragrances and such like that. Even though you will be washing it off, it's just good to avoid that extra irritation, especially right now when you're doing a little bit of a longer cleanse. And then with your second cleanse. Sorry, I forgot the word second for some reason. So with your second cleanse, you're going to want to use a very gentle sort of hydrating cleanser, especially if your skin is more dry. And if your skin is a little bit more oily, you could use something maybe foaming, but just make sure that it is packed full of like moisturizing ingredients as well. So just make sure you're doing that double cleanse, you guys. All right, tip number 2 is to wear a clean mask every single day. These babies get gross. So it's gonna have your sunscreen, it's gonna have your makeup, it's gonna have your sweat, it's gonna have the gook coming out of your mouth, and you know, they get gross. I don't really need to elaborate on that anymore. There's going to be bacteria, there's going to be dirt. The insides of these get disgusting. So you want to make sure that you're washing them. If you're using reusable masks, personally, I prefer the reusable masks because 1, they're cuter and you can kind of match them to your outfits, but 2, because you can wash them and reuse them, and you can use like a sort of like a free and clear, gentle sort of like cleanser with your like detergent in your wash. You can use one that doesn't have fragrance in it, that's fragrance free. That way you know there's not stuff left on it, and that they're just nice and clean for you to use. Plus, I like to use the reusable ones again, just because then you're not throwing away a mask every single day, because you really shouldn't be using those disposable ones for more than a day in a row because they get gross, like I said. So it's nice to use a new, fresh, clean mask every single day. That way you're giving yourself a clean canvas to start with, and then washing it at the end of the day, or you know, having a pile of dirty masks and washing them all at the end of the week. Kind of just depends on how many masks you have, but it's nice to kind of avoid throwing one away every single day. All right, tip number 3 is to have ample hydration and moisturization every single morning, every single night. Your mask is tearing down your skin barrier and you want to build it back up. So you want to make sure that you're using nice hydrating ingredients, nice moisturizing ingredients, especially at the end of the day. Kind of using like a thicker moisturizer might even be a good idea, just to really give your skin a good environment to build back up the barrier that was broken down by the friction from the mask all day long, if you're wearing a mask all day long. And using like a hydrator, like polyglutamic acid or hyaluronic acid or something like that underneath your moisturizer during the day can be very effective as well at keeping your skin nice and hydrated throughout the day. That way you're not creating a dry environment for the mask to chafe on. So tip number 4 is niacinamide. That's the whole tip, is niacinamide. So it's really, really great at, this particular ingredient is really great at calming the skin and controlling oil production. So you don't want to have too much oil production going on when your oil is going to be mixing with your sunscreen and your makeup and being trapped under your mask. So niacinamide is going to help kind of stave off those breakouts and also sort of help them from even occurring in the first place, and help them from getting worse as well. All right, tip number 5. We're already on to 5 of 7. So tip number 5 is to exfoliate regularly. So when I say exfoliate regularly, I mean maybe twice a week. I do not mean more than that, especially because your skin barrier is being chafed constantly by the mask. And I know I keep saying that, but it really is not great for the skin. Like I get, like at the end of the day, my skin is kind of like rubbed almost raw, and just from wearing a mask, which is why I like the ones from Francesca's. Kind of side note here, because they have a very soft fabric on the inside of the mask, so it's not quite as chafing against the skin. Like there's not as much friction happening there, which is nice. But you want to exfoliate once, maybe twice a week, and you want to do that with a chemical exfoliant. So we're talking about like our mandelic acid, or just, I mean, any of your chemical exfoliants really will work. It just sort of depends, like your AHAs and your BHAs, and if you're super prone to to breakouts, then you might be using a BHA more than twice a week, which is totally fine. I'm speaking a little bit more of our alpha hydroxy acids, and those are going to be good to use like once or twice a week to slough off all of the dead skin cells and give yourself just a nice smooth canvas and allow your skincare regimen to really sink in and not be impeded at all by dead skin cells. And this is going to also help that skin cell turnover, make sure that there's not that buildup of dead skin that would also help, which a buildup of dead skin can cause acne if you're not exfoliating regularly. But you don't want to over exfoliate, so let's make sure we don't over exfoliate because we're not trying to destroy our skin barrier. We're just trying to make sure that our skin cells can turn over effectively. Okay, so tip number 6 is tretinoin or retinol. So these ingredients are actives that we use in the evening time because sunlight can inactivate them, and also they can cause a sensitivity to sunlight. So these are actives that will help to aid that skin cell turnover process at nighttime, similar to an exfoliant, but they are not an exfoliant. So we're going to use tretinoin or retinol at nighttime, not on exfoliation day because that's a little bit too many spicy things going on in your face. So we're going to use those at nighttime, and those are going to help sort of stave off breakouts and kill off existing ones as well. Alrighty, so the final and last but definitely not least tip is tip number 7, which is to avoid foundation under your mask. And I know for those of us who are still going into work, or even if you are on Zoom calls all day, you don't want to look washed out by the camera, and you don't want to look a mess at work, and that's very hard to stray away from the foundation, especially when your skin isn't clear on its own just yet, but it will actually help your skin clear up because there's going to be less of a barrier there, less things to get clogged in your pores. And especially with the mask just pressing everything into your face, you really don't need the foundation underneath there. It's just going to make a worse kind of dirty environment that it's going to be just a breeding ground for bacteria and acne. And my advice to you would be, if you really need the foundation, then just apply where your mask is not, and then keep your mask on all day so you don't look crazy. But really just using like a tinted sunscreen will do, and then you can reapply above the mask. That way you're not reapplying underneath the mask all day long. But if you are going to be driving and taking your mask off, or if you're going to be at home, you want to make sure you're applying your sunscreen regularly, of course. But my last tip to you would be to avoid the foundation. Alrighty guys, so those were my 7 tips for you to help avoid and stave off and prevent and just get rid of, if you already have it, maskne. And I really hope that this video was helpful to you. Don't forget to sunscreen and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if this was helpful for you, and also what other sorts of videos you would like to see. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.